Alright, there you go.
Yeah. Focus it on him. Okay? This is my
Move
daughter.
around as
I'll move around as well. Okay?
So I think we know the reason why we're here.
Wait,
Promo out there, trying to talk to people that we should come here and gather and listen to the man that we think
Get other people
is got the vision to move that country forward. So before we get started, I'd like us to be on our feet for an opening prayer, please. All right. I'd like to invite Dr. Babalola for a short opening prayer for us, please.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for this awesome moment. We thank you because we know you've been wondering yourself when we're going to take control of the terrible situation in our country. As we take this step forward by faith, we pray, Father, Lord, that you will use this momentum that our brother, Omoyele Sowore, is representing. We pray that we will not be only the flag bearer of our earnest expectation, but it will also be the tool that we will use as a divine intervention to really make things right in Nigeria. We do not want to shed blood in Nigeria, but Father, Lord, we know those who really make peaceful revolution impossible, they themselves, they are really asking for bloodshed. But with your intervention, we know, Lord, things can be resolved smoothly. We want things to move smoothly in our country. We want a leadership that will really galvanize the whole country. That those who presently are even sojourning abroad will not hesitate to come home to contribute to the restorative process. And as we deliberate today, Father, Lord, we pray that your wisdom will take control. And that, Lord, it will be a very useful interaction today. And we thank you for our brother. He's been all over the world, jetting, traveling, everything. We pray for strength. When he tired, Father, we pray that you give him divine energy to continue. So that this struggle, Father, it will not be just a physical struggle, but it will be a struggle that because you are also empowering him, he will not feel tired. He will be strong all the time. You will feed him both good, nutritious physical food and great spiritual food. And he will remain strong to the very end. We pray for victory. In fact, we are thanking you, Lord, ahead, that he's not just here to just speak as a man, that he's not only our president in waiting, but going to be the president for true. Blessed be your mighty name, O Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Thank you very much. Shall we have our seat? All right. I know we're already seated, but again, we are going to stand up again for our lovely, first and foremost, we start with the Nigerian national anthem. Some of us can still remember to sing it. It doesn't matter how bad the country is right now. I see some of us that say we can't sing that song again. We must sing that song again. That land belongs to us. It's our fatherland. It does not matter how hard it is. Let that song bring joy back to us again. Shall we rise and sing the national anthem? And after that, you may stand in while we sing the Australian national anthem as well. We kick off with the Nigerian national anthem.
Shall
switch over to the Australian national anthem. Please remain standing. Put your hands together for yourself. What a lovely national anthem indeed that was. And to be able to see all of you. Yeah, just to see how you guys fluently sang that song, it feels that there's still hope. Yes, much hope. Generally, look, this event, we don't mean to separate people by way of high table and all that, but I think I still have one spirit there. It's not for me, because I am the master ceremony today, so I'm not sitting there, but I'm just going to call anyone, and don't be like, don't finish it. Just go and take it. That's the president to be. So this is going to be your souvenir. And you can just show this when you get it home with walking stick. You show your children that. And that's what I'm doing, sir. Thank you. I think you connect with me, which is really good. We want ladies in their house. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to integrate now and make sure we cultivate and integrate ladies in the house. The way your focal length is going that way, madam, can you stand up and go and take your position there, please? Stand up. Yes. Put your hands together for her. You know, I don't have to mention her name. I know I will come this back, but it's okay. Thank you. It's good to have a lady right there, and then so that they know we are integrating. I just saw on the post on the TV recently, the Ethiopian president, the Ethiopian prime minister, has just recently go and check all the ministerial cabinet, 50% women, which is really what we need. But check in Nigeria, all the ministers we have there, about 3 women, the rest are men. That's why when it's fight in the house, you see the women take off. How can 3 women wage war against those men with their brothers? So we need this, and those are the things we want to take back. We want to take equality back. Put your hands together for yourself. No more discrimination. There should be equality in the system. Things to run through quickly. I'd like us to just rise to honor those who have lost their lives in Nigeria. People are dying, as you know, there's still killings in Nigeria happening right now in some part of Nigeria. Some are dying for a purpose, for a cause. For some of us who are privileged and opportunity to be in a place like this, those are our people. We should carry them along. I want us to stand on our feet and just 1 minute of silence for people who have lost their lives in Nigeria, all over the world, fighting for justice, for a cause. And most especially for 3 members of AAC who were traveling from a meeting in Delta State. They lost their lives. They then ran into a river. And Pastor Jones, Mr. Idris, and Mr. Ernest, they all Delta State in Warri, and they lost their lives. And this for a cause, for the nation. Shall we bow our head for 1 minute respect, please? Thank you very much. May their gentle soul rest in perfect peace. You can have your seat now. All right. Again, I just want to acknowledge people sitting here today and those who did not make the time to come out here for the support so far. The journey has just begun. We are in a race. Please don't give up yet. Talk to your friends, your family to vote wisely. Because me, I tell them from my videos that the soup will sour and they throw away. But we need to add something to something. That's why we put water to yesterday's soup. But these guys, they are old cargoes, they need to go. Please, there are people amongst us here today who made it possible for this event to happen. And we're not just going to make, Sowore is here, he's been flying around the world, both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, and he's working tirelessly to make sure he reaches out to everyone. But again, there are other people, stakeholders, and then the followers who are also making it possible for him to achieve this dream. With that, I'd like to just mention some people in the house. If your name was not mentioned, it doesn't mean that we don't recognize you. It doesn't mean that you're not part of us. But the fact that you are sitting here, you are here to fight the cause. And we really appreciate you. But just wanted to say, few people who have made it possible for this event to happen. They are one of the stakeholders. I just want to mention their name quickly. And volunteers too, who also, took their time to decorate this place, to make sure all the equipment are ready, the PA system, to make sure that when we do Thanksgiving in church, after Thanksgiving we do thanks shopping, so which means there's going to be something flowing through our mouth. All these things have come out of people's personal pocket, and that is not easy. For you to dip hand into your pocket and bring out to grace this event, may the Lord continue to refill your pocket in Jesus' name. I would like to call on people, and they're here. Some of us are not still here because they go work. The stakeholders Perth, I have here Hajinus, Gwamba, Benga Ojomo, myself Wesley, Frank Bademose, Professor Tade, Engineer Angus, Chidibere, Halima, Maduka, Dr. Dele Babalola himself, Professor Ebenezer Shulari, Prof. James Oladijo, Perry, Ralph Peters, Richard Amodu, Pastor Stanford, and Tommy Adebayo. These guys have been hiding behind the closet, working tirelessly to make sure we are here gathered this afternoon. Put your hands together for these people, for their time. And now I want to quickly reference, sorry, I forgot to mention, and it came under the second page. Festus Iyoa, Kazim, Dauda, and Mr. Paul. These are all part of the stakeholders. It was just hiding on my second page. I didn't say that. I apologize. The volunteers who made it possible for us to be having this moment. They know other people than Mrs. Shilong, Pat, Mrs. Adeboye, Halima, Edith, Kwaba, Ogechi, Esther O, Yinka O, Yeti O. When I was ending all these schools, I said, is this a family? Families are there. But that's good. I can see all the O's coming out. O is a very universal blood group. They donate very well. So that's good. Mrs. Esther Force and Uyinka Ayonku. Put your hands together for these lovely people. And they have taken time to make sure we are getting enough of our time today. And then again, I just want to quickly reference the overseas supporters you have as well, Mr. Omoyele Sowore. These are the ones we have in Perth, but there are people who are strongly behind your movement. In as much as I am one of those people in the Perth platform, I also belong to other platforms in Edo State and other states, and we will do, brainstorm and say a lot of things. These guys, I just want to quickly mention, Usayende Wogire, the Obamedo of UK Birmingham. That guy is strongly behind you. Igudaro, aka Daro, you probably would have met these people. As I mentioned the name, it rings a bell. David Singh, Gorola, aka Ocean, Dr. Greg of Nigeria, Joy Omorebe, Nigeria ASAP or not chapter. You can see the lady is highly involved. ladies are taking it back. And of course, the list goes on for the people, amount of people that you've got. And to all the AAC party members and supporters, we say thank you for your time and for the support for this platform. I want to quickly introduce this man to you. And I kind of wrote something a little bit about him, which I put together. But if certain things, if they're wrong, please, we will readjust this. We are readjusting, but I have to put this together quickly about Omoyele Sowore. When you go on social media, you will hear all sorts of stories about this guy. Some people will say good about him. Some people will say this guy is a radical. How are we going to have a mafia that will beat him? Nah. But I tell people, look back to history, because we think we've lost our history. We're not going back to history. I look at one post a few days ago on social media, and I saw Omoyele Sowore standing behind late MKO Abiola, and he was very young. And I said, wow. Which means this guy has been fighting for a cause for nearly 30 years. Nigeria is 58. This guy has been fighting for a movement for 30 years. Minus 30 from 58. How many have you got left? That is not rocket science, which means you only got 28 left. For someone to still be fighting consistently, persistent, and consciously, don't you guys think that that's a cause? I think it's a man to be reckoned with. And I wrote a little paragraph about this guy. And I said, what kind of a man is this guy? What can a man do? One man that can motivate, inspire, and give his people a reason to hope and believe in their country once again. Who is this man? Is no other person than Omoyele Sowore. Mr. Sowore is an indigenous of Ondo State in southwest Nigeria. He was born February 16, 1971 in Niger Delta region of the country, where he was also raised. He studied geography and regional planning at the University of Lagos and holds a master's degree in public administration from Columbia University. He teaches modern African history at the City University of New York and post-colonial African history at the School of Art, New York. A human rights activist, pro-democracy campaigner, and of course you all know, he's the founder of an online news agency called Sahara Reporters. Please help me stand up. Make a stand-up ovation as I introduce to you this very lovely man, the presidential candidate for African Action Congress come 2019 Nigeria presidential elections, Mr. Omoyele Sowore. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that very nice introduction. Thank you, Australia. Thank you, people of the city of Perth, for bringing me over here. Thank you, the organizers of today's event. I should say that when I was studying geography and planning at the University of Lagos, I never thought that one day I would end up doing the excursion I refused to do when I was in university, which was to come to Australia. When our professor was teaching us about Australia, they said it's the end of the world, so don't bother to do it. And I got to tell you that coming here is truly the end of the world. How did I find out? I got to Australia on the map, an Emirates aircraft, and thought we had arrived. It took another 5 hours to get to Brisbane. I said, you know, this has got to be the true end of the world. But I've had so much love and support since I arrived here. It makes me feel it's the beginning of the world, and I thank you so much for making it happen. One of the things that I saw when I got here is how important it is that, you know, we develop our country. I came here, and every city I've been, Brisbane, Melbourne, and Sydney, as I say, totally, the place was designed, it fell from the sky. You wouldn't even think that this place was developed by human beings. reason is that that is what we are made to feel at home, that it's impossible to do anything. It's impossible to make roads. It's impossible to have hospitals that are working. It's impossible to have housing system for the poor. It's impossible for us to have education. But something has been wrong with Nigeria, because today is Sunday. You know, I'm not particularly a religious person, I should say, but I've read the story of Jacob and Esau, right? And it tallies with what happened to Nigerians. It was that you all know about how Jacob and Esau lost his birthright to Jacob. And when we were taught that story in the Bible, we always felt that Jacob was someone of a schemer, right? He was this guy who, you know, made his brother lose his birthright, and somehow you hate Jacob, somehow you have pity for Esau. But in the case of Nigeria, there's a parallel as well. And the parallel for me is that that story isn't complete until you look at the transaction. The problem was that there was an offer made to Esau by Jacob to sell his birthright, and he accepted it and took the price and walked away. It's the same thing that I think happened to Nigeria. There was an offer made to us to pauperize us. There's an offer made to us to oppress us. There's an offer made to us to drive us out of the country to the furthest lands around the world. And we accepted it. I don't know how we accepted it, but the result is that if we didn't accept it, we could have taken back our birthright for the last 58 years, which is what we are trying to do now, and we must make it happen. I've told you that story not because it will make exact sense, but because it's the driving force today behind the reason I'm standing in front of you. That for the last 30 years, as the MC introduced, I have been fighting very hard to take my own birthright back in Nigeria. It was to the extent that when I found myself in the US for 19 years, I spent 19 years in the US between 1999 and last year, or this year, I lived in the US. And I lived comfortably like most of you did. You know, I had kids there, got married. But I discovered something that, you know, that birthright of yours, you cannot regain it back from another man's land. And there's nobody who's going to give you your birthright, whether they call it naturalization, whether they give you an employment checks, or they even offer you a job, they give you free education. There is just nothing like being in your own space, living in your own country, and being happy in your own country. If anybody were to ask you in this room where you would rather be, with the same facilities you have here, I think the answer would be totally Nigeria. Where would you rather be with electricity? Where would you rather be with free education, health? Where would you rather be with the kind of infrastructure I've seen in Australia? The answer would be Nigeria, because it's know how well you can be treated out here, that it can be like home, because that's where you come from. So I brought home to you, or brought from home to you, greetings from our people. I've been in Nigeria now for 8 months, 8 good months, leading a movement known as Take It Back. And about 2 months ago, we registered a political party known as the African Action Congress. And I became the presidential candidate of that party less than a month ago. And before then, I've been traveling around Nigeria, having done 30 states in Nigeria, several cities. But I've also been under a lot of pressure to visit and meet with Nigerians all over the world. So over 100 events already done. And the conclusion I'm coming and walking around with is that Nigerians are looking for a country that they can call their own. Even for Nigerians who don't plan to go home, they want a Nigeria that is functioning. Even for Nigerians who are born outside of Nigeria, like our kids who are here, they are always talking about Nigeria, you know. But sadly, the only information most of them have about Nigeria is sad news that is constantly coming out of Nigeria. The sad news you are hearing from Nigeria, for those of you who are here, is not a place for sad news. It's deliberate. Nigeria has been designed by Nigerian leaders to be a place from where only sad news can come out. When you look at the mathematics, you look at the geography, you look at the administrative politics of Nigeria, the social, cultural, and traditional politics of Nigeria, only one result can come out of it: sad news. If you look at the nature and character of Nigerian leaders, the only outcome of their leadership is sadness, because we are saddened and burdened with very greedy and wicked individuals, human beings, sadly. And in speaking like this on a Sunday in front of a lot of kids, I feel a little bad, because most of them are looking for hope and inspiration that this country will become a better place. Yes, that hope and inspiration is right in front of you today. We are determined to change the narrative of the stories that are coming out of Nigeria, but we cannot do that, ladies and gentlemen, without changing the objective conditions on the ground, without changing the leadership in Nigeria. And it is the reason why I'm here in Australia. My Nigerian time is about 10 past 8 or 11 past 8. Australia is, what time is it in Perth? 3:15. In Brisbane, it's probably like 5 p.m. It's, I don't know, my body clock right now, I don't know where I am. I know whether I'm in Nigeria, in Perth, Brisbane, Sydney, or Melbourne. But we have to do this. And I'm glad that all of you are sitting down here today, willing to engage and interact about the best way forward for Nigeria. So I will be very glad to take a lot of questions and suggestions, a lot of comments about what's going on in Nigeria. Typically what I do is to give a long talk about how bad things are. But I know that most of you already know the story. And there's no point repeating it to you. We repeat it to ourselves all the time. Everywhere you see 3 Nigerians gathered together having any conversation is about how bad things are in Nigeria. They're talking about Boko Haram, talking about Boko Buhari, Atiku or articulation of Obasanjo or the people who destroyed Nigeria. But we can take back Nigeria. We can make Nigeria work. We can make Nigeria be better than even Australia. The reason I say so is simple. When Australia was built, or they made it like this, a long time ago, technology is such that if we have the right kind of leaders in Nigeria today, we can bring in new things that will totally just turn Nigeria around in such a way that even people in all these Western countries where we run to become citizens and go on exile, whichever way we call it, will be jealous. They will be very, very jealous of what has happened in Nigeria. They will be surprised at what has happened in Nigeria. And the people that can make it happen are those of you who are sitting in the room today, largely, and also people at home who are also braving it at home. But the sad part about home is that most people in Nigeria who are still in Nigeria, they are just there trapped. They are waiting to leave. That's the truth. That is my experience in the last 8 months in Nigeria. If somebody were to go to Nigeria today and say, I'm issuing visas to anybody who wants to leave Nigeria, to go to Australia, the United Kingdom, the US, 70% of Nigeria or Nigerians will leave Nigeria the same day. I'm telling you, that's how bad things are. 30% of people that will be left are people who are probably unable to stand, walk to the airport, or go to the port. The rest of Nigerians are just waiting to, in fact, senators will be the first two to leave. Governors will be struggling to leave with siren in the country. They don't believe in a country. They've made a country to become a country in which no human being wants to live in. So except those who are trapped in the place. But this could change. This will change. And why and how it will change is the reason I'm here today. We have seen the way the rest of the world is working. In fact, most of us here seated are the ones helping other places around the world to function. We are the engineers designing and building roads and houses, infrastructure for Australia. I've met Nigerians before who are helping to shoot rockets into the space. Met a Nigerian who was one of the first people to design the plasma TV. There's a Nigerian in the US who can take a baby out of the womb, fix the baby, put it back, and the baby will be born healthy. I heard there's also a similar doctor here in Australia, a Nigerian doctor, who has such marvelous capability. But if they head to Nigeria tomorrow, they will not leave the airport without being kidnapped. If they make it to where they want to do the work, the person that is supposed to receive them will tell them we don't need you here. If you bring a new idea, they'll take the idea from you and ask you to get it away from them. If you keep coming back, they will hurt you. The place is so emasculated that there's almost no space, ladies and gentlemen, to do good in Nigeria anymore. And that is why there's the urgency of now. Urgency of why this intervention we're talking about must happen, and why all of you, regardless of whatever you can do to support, must intervene at this time. If you have financial support, it's great, but moral support is very important. In fact, sanctions. I'm recommending sanctions. I've been recommending since I started that people living abroad should sanction people at home. That if they don't vote for the right leaders this time around, there's no more Western Union transfer. Somehow, we have been encouraging the laziness at home by sending money at the slightest provocation. Anybody can make a story up, you send money to them. Somebody will ask you, I'm sick. You keep sending money. When you get to Nigeria, you discover he's building a house for himself. And they will refuse, however, to do anything about the situation that could make them stop waiting for Western Union from abroad. So those of you who are sitting here today are the biggest investors in Nigeria. You are the foreign investors, real foreign investors. You are bringing in over $50 billion into Nigeria every year. That is officially, if you are sending through World Remit, Western Union recorded. But knowing Nigerians, when you want to send real money, you hide it inside the container. To go to Nigeria for you, that's where money is, or you go to the airport for somewhere to carry it for you. So if you add the way we send money unofficially, an orthodox way, we are probably sending some $100 billion. There's no country in the world, in the West, that is giving foreign aid of $100 billion to any country. In fact, the entire aid given to the continent of Africa is not up to what we send to Nigeria through money transfer. So you must start sanctioning people at home. We started preaching by asking that you should force them somehow to get PVC, that's the permanent voter's card. That before I send you my next tranche of Western Union, I want to see a copy of it by WhatsApp. A lot of people did it, it worked. I'm telling you, it might sound funny to you, but since we've been pushing it, it's worked. We found people, as we're traveling in Nigeria, said, if it's not for you, I wouldn't have got PVC. My brother in Australia asked me to get PVC. And now we're hearing from people, they say if I don't vote for you, they don't send me money again. It's the way we have to take the bull by the horn, ladies and gentlemen, because that country will be one of the best countries in the world. The whole world will be looking up to Nigeria in a matter of 4 years from now. But the whole world will be running away from Nigeria in a matter of 2 years from now. What is 2 years from now? If two of the major candidates of the two major political parties win the election next year, one of them will likely put Nigeria on eBay or Alibaba. I'm serious, it's not funny. The other one will dissolve Nigeria in acid, that's Buhari. These two guys have no plans for Nigeria. One of them, Atiku, spent $20 million in Port Harcourt to purchase the candidacy of the PDP. What do you think he will do when he becomes president? He's going to recoup back his money. One person probably has allocated over $1 billion to spend election Atiku. And this is the same Atiku that has been vice president twice in Nigeria, 8 years under Obasanjo. He has been a custom officer. He has no way of explaining how he made his money. But we know how he made his money. There's a record of how he made his money through collection of bribery, from Siemens and other companies in the archives of the US government website, if you Google it today. The next person is our lifeless ancestor. When I say ancestor, I really mean it. Buhari is officially 76 years old. If he goes back to the hospital in London next year, he might add another 1 year. Anytime he sees his doctor, he adds 1 more year. But the reality is, his younger sister is 82 years old. Yes, Nigeria, this is not a lie, we are hearing from the source. Nigeria is 58 years old. The leader of Nigeria is 88 years old. I mean, what kind of country are we running? These people, we are not against them, by the way, because they are old. We are against them because of the age of their ideas. They have nothing to offer us anymore. The best they can offer Nigeria is what Nigeria is today. A broken country without infrastructure, a broken country without hospitals, a broken country without roads, a broken country without housing, and all of the good things you take for granted over here. Nigeria in 2018 is still celebrating the flickering of lights, what they call NEPA in Nigeria. That is, if you get electricity turned on accidentally. In Nigeria, the office of the electrical company that is known as NEPA, or what they call PHDL now, PHDL means power has changed, and the problem has changed name. That's the name of that. They use generator to power their office. Yes. We've done it before where we went to the office and we saw them uploading a generator at NEPA's office to power their own office. Those are the kind of contradictions that has been defiling our country, ladies and gentlemen. And if we then decide, which is simple, to change the situation through the elections that are coming in next year, February 16th precisely is the presidential election, to vote for a young person that has got integrity, a young person that has got exposure, a young person that has got education, a young person that has got capacity and stamina, you will find Nigeria to be a different place in less than 2.5 years. Why did I say so? Egypt just added over 34,000 megawatts of electricity to their national grid a few days ago. You guys probably heard about it. They built it in 2.5 years, and it's a mixture of gas, solar, biogas, biofuels, biomass, renewable energy, and also fossil fuel, right? China built in 9 years the longest bridge ever to be built by human beings between Hong Kong and mainland China. It's the same last 9 years that we couldn't figure out how to sign a contract, hear me, to conclude the refurbishment of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Just to sign the contract, it took 9 years. By the way, they have been refurbishing it for the past 20-something years that I know of personally. They started refurbishing Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, which is 120 kilometers, since before I left Nigeria in 1999. I went back there in 2018. Some 18 years after, same old story. The other day, for those of you who follow us on Facebook, I was trapped on that road within a space of 2 kilometers for 6 hours. Because it's the only road that leads out of Lagos and is permanently under reconstruction, not even construction now. Right? I came here And everywhere I was driven by those of you who have been assisting my travel here, it's always about construction. Everybody will point to me, oh, this neighborhood used to be bush last 2 years. Now it's full of houses. And I was asking, these houses, are they houses for rich people? No, what are you talking about, rich people? These are council workers, regular people. In Nigeria, the kind of houses you live here that I see, Nigeria is only rich people that can afford to live in those places. But it's because the country, a nation here, is a nation state that cares for its people. And it's not as if you even have like some sound political system. I hear you change your prime minister like class captain every month. Maybe while we're here, you change the prime minister. Who knows? By the time we finish this meeting, you probably change 2 of them. Because you are constantly never satisfied with the leadership. And you keep changing and asking for changes. You know, even those of you who are not even Australians, you're asking to change the Prime Minister of Australia. But those of us who are Nigerians, we can't change our leaders in 58 years. It's the same Buhari of 1983 that's still the president of Nigeria in 2018. And they will then have the audacity and the temerity to be asking young people for experience. When would you get experience? When they refuse to leave power. Didn't you get experience by working? When your father refuses to let you leave the house, how can you have experience to become the father? If your father refuses to allow you marry, how can you become a father to other children? So it's horrible. But we can change it and we can do it. And those of us who can do it have made ourselves available. I am one of the 79 candidates that's running for 79. By yesterday, there are 79 candidates. Everybody that had the possibility of running for office. You know, the reason why there are 79 candidates is that Buhari made the presidency so cheap. Everybody thought he was president of Nigeria. Yes. So, and you can't blame them if the president doesn't have YX certificate. So anybody who had even HND will not apply to the president of Nigeria. Even now, as of yesterday, they still couldn't submit his YX. They said it's with the military. You are the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Your result is with the armed forces. Why should you write it in INEC form that you don't know where your result? Just tell the armed forces to release your result to INEC. But the truth is that Buhari did not do YX. And you can tell it from his demeanor, you can tell it from the way he talks that he's not educated. There's no doubt about that. Even one of the traditional rulers in the north, Emir Sanusi, said it today, that it's time for Nigerians to start voting for educated people. And I have no doubt that the Emir is referring to Buhari. Yes, but they will slug it out between themselves. That's if they don't destroy him before the election. Anyways, this is why I'm here. I'm very relaxed today. I don't want to, make any big speeches. I want us to have an interactive session together. This is my last sitting in Australia, and hopefully after tonight, I'll get the chance to leave this very huge country of yours. Head Australia is actually 4 times the size of Nigeria. 4 times. 6. But everywhere you go in Australia, there's probably a road linking Perth to Brisbane. Can you drive from here to Brisbane? Possible, right? Yeah, you cannot drive from Lagos to Abeokuta. Yeah, I'm not making it up. You can start the journey, but the question is when you get to it. You can drive from here for 2 weeks on the road, you will get to Brisbane. Yes, less than that. You cannot get to Abeokuta from Lagos in a day. That's if you are lucky. You make it second day. So, please, thank you for coming again. You're amazing people. And that you, even after leaving Nigeria behind, and most of you, when you left Nigeria, you swore that you never have anything to do with Nigeria. Yes, everybody has got a story as to the reason they left Nigeria. And most of you are sitting here, also some of you left Nigeria thinking I'll be back in 2 weeks. And your 2 weeks became 27 days. The same thing that happened to me. But regardless, you have not left Nigeria behind. You know, Nigeria is also a very interesting paradox, right? No matter how you leave Nigeria, Nigeria doesn't leave you. It's like following you around, you know, wherever you go. So, thank you so much. Again, I want to thank the organizers, not the organizers of tonight's event only, but the organizers of all the events I've attended right here in Australia, from Brisbane to Melbourne and Sydney yesterday. I am the only or the first presidential candidate in Nigeria to come looking for the presidency of Nigeria in Australia. First, in fact, you can count the number of Nigerian presidents who have ever been to Australia. And how many times they've been to Australia? Probably no more than 10 in the history of Nigeria. So I count myself very privileged and lucky to be in your midst, and I'm looking forward to an interactive session this afternoon to discuss how next year we can start taking Nigeria in a different direction when I am personally sworn in as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very
much. Put your hands together one more time for when I say Sowore, say take it back. Sowore! Take it back! Sowore! Take it back! We are taking that country back. Man. For some of us who also go to Nigeria all the time, it saddens you. What you see and you compare your brain, just go back like in time to Australia and see, you try to compare. It messes up with your head. I live from my place, my house in Benin. Look at police station, look at my place. It's the only place where vigilante will be collecting money for security. Look at police station here. On the same street that I live, opposite my house is Air Force Base. Policeman will be collecting money, a vigilante will be collecting money for security. And this is a country where a police, you arrest, you hold a thief. You hand over to police will hand over thief to vigilante. You go there, ask yourself, who the guard who for this country? But I will never go to Nigeria, sit down and look at the meter. The meter they are using card. The way the thing moves, it moves like people are in SN. The way they are killing people, and you are not owning anything. The card will just go in that country. Please, we need to take it back. Honestly speaking, how much will you hear if you already stand here and begin to tell you? In fact, you don't even need to, because you know you've seen, you've heard. It's just the attitude we need, we Nigerians. I keep telling people, late Tupac said, you cannot make somebody independent unless you make them grow. Grow them to become independent. And J.F. Kennedy, late President J.F. Kennedy, said, one ignorant vote, your one ignorant vote will destroy your future and the insecurity of your nation. And that's what we beg in Nigeria. Time has come. People that have head, they can't think. Yeah, what do you call them again? Analog. I got that word from you. Analog leaders. Analog brain. They are not thinking digitally. Can you imagine? We're taking it back. It's just me. Please, we're supporting this movement. It doesn't matter how hard it is. We shall smile one day, because I was playing Sonny Okosu, late Sonny Okosu, a few days ago, and tears came down my eyes. I said, which way Nigeria? Which way to go? He said, but I love my fatherland. I want to know which way Nigeria. Go back in time and play. Now behind this Shakili Bobo when they play now. All these Chris May, go back and listen to people that play music of yesteryears. People like Fela. I posted something on Fela's page on my account, and I see what Fela said. These people, they are like prophets. What they prophesied back in the day is happening right now. But we need to change our orientation. Let's change our attitude. Once we change our attitude, our orientation about things will change. A Rome was not built in a day. Rwanda, in history, suffered the worst genocide in the world. Rwanda had the worst corruption. People were slain. 800,000 people massacred. But man, I have flown to Rwanda and rode my way to South Africa from Kenya. You will not believe how Rwanda is rebuilding a nation again.
You will see the one that you heard of many years ago. Go and look at the one that one of the fastest developing countries in Africa right now. Because what? It's not the country that needs rebranding, it's the leaders that need rebranding. Because they are not thinking, we need to kick them out. Look at Ethiopia. A prime minister that went to a country, Egypt, and said, you know what? All the people you have detained, release them. They released all the Ethiopians and put them on the same aircraft and took them back home. They're doing amazing work. Right now, my people, Sowore has spoken. But that's not the end, it's just the beginning. It's just the icing on the cake. And that's the reason why we are here today, interaction. We want to have question and answering now. Have you prepared your question? And we've got a microphone in the middle, right? And I'll be passing this one to Mr. Sowore. Please let us be conscious about no rowdiness. I know we are all gentlemen and ladies. We are all calm, nice and easy. Any question you have prepared, it is time to ask this question. Let our children hear so that when they grow up, they can start to lead and learn from it. It's questioning time, my people. I'd like to ask anyone, if you have any question, raise up your hand, and we will make your way. First question, please. Professor Sowore, put your hands together. Oh, thank you.
I'm not asking a question. I'm just going to offer insights for us to discuss upon. I believe the problem of our people is the mind. Zig Ziglar said, and I quote, if you want to destroy a man or a woman, get hold of his or her mind. Once you get the mind, you've got everything. I observed with very, very marked attention when Mr. Sowore arrived, and I purposely stood behind to watch his movement and the entourage that surrounded him. And I was very impressed. I compared it to an experience I had a month ago during the Australian mining down under, where I was privileged to be president. And the former president of Nigeria, by name Obasanjo, arrived almost 2 hours late while the director of NASIMA was speaking. And to my utmost dismay and disappointment, the director stopped the speech. There was a pandemonium in the hall, and everybody abandoned everyone and went straight to go and prostrate before Baba. I walked to one corner and I shook my head. That is why I said our problem should be centered on mind. I'm very glad when I heard Mr. Sowore spoke about the strategy to handle our people in Nigeria. That practically answered the question of mindset. Because I called my people in Nigeria and I said, a young man by name Sowore is coming to Western Australia. And my brother said, who is he? I said, did you mean you don't know him? I said, well, we are only for Atiku anyway.
So we don't know who you are talking about. We are tired of Buhari. So when Sowore mentioned that create a sanction, this is a very, very powerful method. Whoever you are sending money to, tell him or her, this money is the last one coming to you if you don't show me evidence that you want to change. God bless you for that, Mr. Sowore. When I asked my senior sister that you are a registered nurse and you are still struggling to feed your child, I say God is in control. I say leave God alone, please. My question is, what do you want to do in the coming election? We went to church, we pray over it. I said, forget that nonsense. I said, I preach myself in my church, but that doesn't make me a moron. I have to use my brain. So, the problem is, we look at ourselves here. A pessimist will say, oh, they are just wasting their time. Nigeria, they have already completed the election. Please, ladies and gentlemen, today, it started on a rough road. And the outcome of that rough road is what we are all enjoying today. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Put your hands together one more time for Pastor. Thank you. And then just recycle the card, take it back like a ticket.
All right, thank you everyone for coming around today, and thank you, Mr. Sowore. In fact, it's a privilege and an honor to stand in front of you today. And I've got questions to ask, and I've got suggestions as well. But before I begin, I just want to congratulate you for one thing that you did, and that was the stand-up between you and the, I don't know if he's still the Minister of Communications, or if he's still, is he still the Minister? Yes, because that is just one thing. That is one thing that actually brought, the consciousness of the youth. That's one thing that actually brought out that confidence, that gave us a glimpse of hope, that we can actually stand and face these people and tell them that, look, we are fed up, we are tired. When I left the country, that was in 2013, I remember my experience. I was fed up, even while going through a lot in school, where you probably be in class, you're studying engineering, medicine, or whatever the course is, but you're sitting in the class and you're asking yourself, of what benefit is this going to be to me? Because if we're like, a nation of 108-something million, and then we have people who are, like, we got more than 2-3 million who are reading the same course, and then we're looking out there, looking at the future, we don't have any hope of job. So the question is, you're in class, you're competing consciously with your mates and unconsciously with the number of students who are. The reason, I don't know. They say you're traveling to Australia. I said yes, and I was going to study. And they said, oh, can I see your visa, please? And I said, well, that is it there. They saw it was in a printed A4 paper. And the guy looked at me and gave me a very funny smile. And he said, you're not going anywhere. And I said, why? He said, it's not in your passport. And I explained to him, I said, look, Australia has a new technology. Australia doesn't work like that. Our passport is the fact that, there's an opportunity, I know, in the country, so many opportunities. We have a lot of corpers, you call members. So after school, we are being sent to different places, different parts of the country to serve. Now, over here, there's what they call medical insurance, that covers everyone, irrespective of where you're from. Even if you're coming from the country, you're not a citizen of the country, you're expected to have some form of medical, cover. A lot of youth corpers have died. During my time, I've lost count, but during my time, I know that I've lost more than close to 1,000 people that I'm aware of that died during NYC. No medical cover. The last incident that happened the last time was a student was shot by the police. She was taken to the medical center, to the hospital rather, and what happened? They said, oh, we cannot do anything else except you know, you put sounds on deposit. You know, it's a challenge there. And I know that a lot of people are working towards it. I had a conversation with some people, some young individuals who were planning on setting up insurance just to cover youth corps members. And when they got to the point where they're about to establish, oh, sorry, round up now. They got to the point where they're about to establish that, what happened? They were faced with the same bureaucratic crap. So my question now is, I believe that you've got something that covers the Nigerian youth, because the Nigerian youth makes up the country Nigeria. I just want to share what your idea is and what you have to cover for the youth of the country. Thank you very much.
Put your hands together one more time. The gentleman, yeah. So I will. The three questions. Every three. Okay, every three. Okay, so you okay, cool. All right, please, we have a lot of questions, and please, we try and make it very snappy. Max 2 minutes, straight to the point, please, and now so that we keep moving. Thank you very much. Dr. Babalola, please.
Thank you very much. President to be, you are welcome again to Australia. My contribution is very simple. Everybody wants Nigeria to be better. And we know you are mine. And God is going to use you to make it happen. So, some of us just want to share some ideas, practical ones, so that you can just, run with that as well. My background is I went to Mayflower School, so I'm a time-showing guy. So when we were in school, that man just identified people he felt were potential leaders. And he would sit us down and he told us that Nigeria is not really hard to run, but our people are just too wasteful. And that leaders should learn to suffer. Anybody who's going to look for political posts to, steal our money, people should have a way of, making a suya of them or something like that. They should just not be allowed to be there. Politics should be service, and everybody knows the life of Shola himself. So what I'm trying to say here is that, for you, for instance, I could just see the evidence of leadership here. You didn't bring an impossible way courage. Another person to just see his lifestyle was Peter Obi. Everybody will know Peter Obi as well, what he did in Anambra. This man just plug leakages. He said we'll go to, every afternoon they will slaughter about 3 cows, expecting him to bring visitors from office. What am I bringing visitors to? If I'm bringing visitors, I will let you know. I said, stop cooking. If I don't give you instruction, don't even cook a fowl. Not talk of 3 cows. Do we really need all those presidential jets? We don't. So, practical way of saving money simply means we have to be extremely frugal. So much money has been wasted in the past. If you can, the National Assembly, for instance, to me, is just a way of wasting our money. If we can really streamline that, definitely we don't need a bicameral legislation. We whittle that down to what really is productive. People are there, they probably will go there first as a service. They don't get any pay at all. Just come there because your regular job is there, and you come at regular time to contribute to the thing. Now, my profession, I'm a medical doctor. And the system I see here is something I think can work in Nigeria. So for primary health, the government doesn't need to go and start building structures. They can use doctors on the ground, but they have to be electronically linked to what we call Medicare card here. Nigeria can design something similar. And those doctors are Nigerians who also are registered to see them. As long as they have those cards, it's a kind of health insurance, whatever, people should be able to see any doctor near their neighborhood. They are there, at least they have that first primary care. And the doctor, and luckily, most doctors in Nigeria run like a mini hospitals as well. So this idea of somebody having a broken leg in an accident, they rush him to Ikeja General Hospital, and they said, look, if you can't pay your registration money, no doctor is going to attend to you. A lot of people die in that corridor just like that. That sort of thing should never happen. And the last note is just that the biggest resource we have in Nigeria, they are the youth. Now look at the United States in the early 30s. when Roosevelt took over from the other man didn't know what to do in the Depression, the youth were galvanized. There was no money, everything was costing money. The man just put all the youth to construction. They put them in camps, government would feed them. They were doing all the construction, the road, all the highways in the US now understand. That's how they all came about. The huge dams, all those. They used to do that. So in Nigeria, I think the most important thing to do is, what kind of job are you going to do for them? Sholarin was, they didn't credit that to him now, but the idea of the National Youth Service Corps was Sholarin. He discussed that with the students before it came about. So the National Youth Service Corps, as it is today, again, is a wastage. One, it's an opportunity to get youth across Nigeria to really know themselves. There's no point putting somebody in Lagos to do national service in Lagos. Let the person go to Akwa Ibom. So it's a way to know Nigeria, know your people, and really remove all this artificial concept of tribalism and so on. When by the time you finish in Akwa Ibom, if you are not married, man, probably bring an Akwa Ibom wife home. You know, you get used to the cuisine there and all that. But the point I'm trying to make there is, the youth in Nigeria now that have nothing to do, create a job, government give them like a barrack, use them like soldiers. Anywhere you need construction, put them there. They are sure of accommodation, government pays them a stipend, which can more than, put body and soul together, and they are doing service. We don't need Chinese. So a lot of those people, they have left university, they have their own ideas about construction, brilliant engineers, they're all there. Let them tap those ideas and, the closing is the energy thing.
Thank you very much.
So we need to look for all kinds of energy, alternatives and so on. I think you're already on the right track on that one. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. We've got three.
Yes, it's working.
We've got 3 questions now, so we're going by 3 questions in a row, like 1, 2, 3, and then he'll nail it, and then we'll go 1, 2, 3 again. So the cards will be going around in numbers, so we're going to be going back to number 1, 2, 3 again. So, and 3, 4, okay, all right, okay. No partialism, we're going to be very partial here. Okay, all right. I will hand over the microphone to Sowore. You ready?
Yes. Honestly, the last 3 comments are not questions, they're suggestions that we can use.
Okay.
And some of them already, we are already on track regarding some of the suggestions. So I just have to thank you and hope that you continue to contribute ideas to our campaign. We are going to hit the ground running big time starting November 18 when we start holding rallies around Nigeria. We have no doubt that we can win this. And as soon as we win this, we will still need you again to bring these dynamic ideas. What Nigeria is looking for is to stop the recycling of the same people that failed Nigeria and bring in people with fresh ideas. Just like you have mentioned here, fresh leadership. People who are making things work in other places. You mentioned the issue of doctors who can treat people wherever they are. When I get sick in Nigeria, I get my treatment through telemedicine. I call my doctor in the US, this is how I'm feeling. And what is usually my biggest issue in Nigeria is stomach flu. Because you are picking Okwobi, Amala, and all the places, you pick stomach virus. And they tell you what to take, you're fine. The next one you call the doctor, I'm fine. So a lot of Nigerian doctors have actually spoken to me who are living abroad that they are willing to do telemedicine as far as it is possible. Just a matter of you have a central number people can call, and they have a card, a universal healthcare card, and you call that number, and a doctor from Australia can treat you, who is a Nigerian. Or the call might go to the one in the US. And if somebody cannot take care of you, they can consult among themselves and say, look, this is a complicated case, they have a case meeting about it, and they treat you. These are possibilities that are already existing in places like Ghana. But our leaders, if you bring any new ideas to them, it's as if it makes them upset. when you bring any new idea, they look at you as if you have come to assault them and insult them. Who are you to come and tell us how to treat people in this country? Because we are living in Australia, because we are living in America, who do you think you are? Me too, I've been to America before. All those kind of very petty, you know, attitude is what is destroying Nigeria, and it comes mostly with these analog-brained leaders. We need digital thinkers. So I'll take the next 3 questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was been observed. I'd like to call on card number 3. Please introduce yourself and make it really snappy. And I will be interrupting if you go beyond time.
Take it back. Take it back.
Action!
I'm John, and I just have 2 questions. I grew up in a school in a private school. I finished from a private school, and I was in a situation whereby students in high school have to pay to get marks for project. Luckily, I was a senior head boy for that private school, but we had the economics teacher who always collect money from students. I never partook in that. But I got into serious problem with that particular teacher actually till I left, even though I was the head boy. What plans do you have in order to incentivize the students, the young ones? Those are the leaders of tomorrow, right? And that corruption mindset is already being built into them, even right from high school. So in that area, what plans do you have? Because it's not just about building more schools. We know we need more schools, obviously. But how do you plan to tackle that situation in the mindset of the students? Another one is power. Power is very, very important. And doctor was talking about the Medicare card and all that. But without power, Medicare card, it can't work. How will it work if there's no power? The card, to operate the cards, those who will be making the cards. I mean, I've been following the PVC collection and all that in Nigeria. And a lot of people said they've been trying to get their PVCs for over 3 months. But they've not been able to get their PVC. They go there, they say, oh, they're still working on it, they're still printing it. So how do you plan to tackle that problem? Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sowore. I've been following you up on YouTube for a while now, and it's a pleasure to see you in flesh. I won't be wasting much of our time, I'll just go straight to the point. My question for you is basically how you want to, what structure do you have for the country? I'm talking of totality of the country. We have, ethnicity problem. As we speak right now, Kaduna is on shutdown, 24-hour curfew. How do you want to tackle Boko Haram? How do you want to bring the country together? How do you want to put a structure on ground to make everybody feel like this is the country that they belong to? We all love Nigeria, that's why we're talking about Nigeria today, and I'm very, very passionate about it. The very first time you started, I was telling my wife that it is a joke, but I'm beginning to believe in you now. She's the one that is actually pushing to say, yeah, she believes in Sowore, but I've been going through your YouTube and everything. I think you have strong passion for the country, and basically we want to see you there. We hope it's going to happen. So that's my first question. What structure do you have in ground that would kind of incorporate the whole country? Lagos, Anambra, up north Borno, and Yoruba, Southeast, and all of that. How do you want to bring us together? That's the first question. The second question is the health system. Now, doctors just spoke about part of it. I am a GP and I do ED part-time, emergency part-time. And I found out that since I got to Australia, it's difficult to die. If you get to ED alive, to be honest, as I was shocked, 100%, I'm not saying maybe 10 people will come and 2 people will die. It is difficult to die. Come there alive. Provided you walk in or the ambulance brought you alive, you will be alive. There's no way you can die. Everything, all the resources will be put in place. But when I was in Nigeria, I did my housemanship in Lorry, and you see all the emergency. All the emergency people on the ground, you know, on the ground, and you know, and that's how, you know, they'll just be grasping for life, and they just die there. No oxygen, no nothing. So I think we should have a structure whereby there can be a proper emergency. Nigeria up till now does not have a proper emergency. So if we do that, we need to keep ourselves alive. It's when we keep ourselves alive that we can fight for this movement, and then we can make more youth, you know, to be alive. So I guess that's my question. Because of our time, I wouldn't go too much into what I want to say about them. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Doc. Number 5. I say, oh, die, now die.
Oh, no.
Let me hear. Number 5. Please go number 5. Step forward, sir. Come that way, and I'll toss you on the microphone. Yeah. Say, I don't die.
Pikin safe, I never see Pikin die here. How you want to happen? Pikin don't put for bottle for 10 months, he will wake up.
Mr. Sowore, it's really nice to meet you. Just like the last speaker, I didn't know much about you. I can say I wasn't so interested, but since you're here today, I said, let me come and see what's happening. But I can tell you that I'm now a fan because I saw a few things, and I really wanted to take note of your groundedness. You know, when you were talking, it was like a human being talking. You know, it wasn't like one high horse. It was like one of us talking, so I really wanted to keep to that. I also want to ask you maybe a very personal question. Do you belong to a secret society? Because when I look at you and look at every one of us here, it could have been any of us in the place. But I tell you, some of us are not that, should I say it? Some of us are not that courageous. So what is behind? You know, are we seeing Sowore or something will come out later? I'm just being frank with you, and that's why I'm a fan, because I see someone that could do some things some of us could not do. And I also want to say that normally a system is more important than a person. So how do you intend to surround yourself with the right people? Because we are seeing Sowore now telling us and being grounded, well, how, when you come on power, who are we going to see, you know? So if you could handle those questions, I have a few, but I'll give other people a chance. Thank you very much.
Put your hands together, Mr. Ephraim. And you got 3 questions to answer now? Okay, go ahead, sir.
Thank you. The first question is about how to tackle the mentality of young people. And I think Dr. Sowore mentioned that in the mind of our people. How do we take hold of the Nigerian human mind or the Nigerian mind such that it is not messed up at a young age? And that's what the question the first person was talking about, students. And I think one of the things I've always known was that in growing up, our education system was better, even though we didn't have fancy schools, because we had mentors. We had people who came around when I was in primary school who were described as people of great character, and they would come talk to us and live, and we would be aspiring to become like them. But today in Nigeria, the value system has changed 360 degrees. If you grew up and the only person who made it in your village is a thief, and is the one who drove the nicest cars, even the people who are honest go to him to ask him to pay the school fees of their children. Who would you want to grow up like? It's a thief. So, and it's a country in which we do not visit consequences on people who do wrong. We praise them, right? We go to parties and praise them. You know, singers will be singing their praises even when we know they are kidnappers, they are thieves, they are robbers. Just like Dr. Sowore was saying about Obasanjo. He came here and everybody started prostrating for him. It's the same thing I faced when I arrived in Nigeria to start campaigning. Everybody's like, when are you going to go see Obasanjo? When are you going to go see Obasanjo? And I keep asking them, which Obasanjo? Why should I go see Obasanjo? The same Obasanjo that prevented Awolowo from becoming president in 1979 through 12 to 12 is what they dreamt of at that time. Is it the same Obasanjo that said that Abiola is not the Messiah and he worked against him until they killed him? Same Obasanjo that was given a chance to run Nigeria for 2 consecutive terms and said he was not satisfied, he wanted a 3rd term. When they drove him out of his 3rd term agenda, he went and brought a dead person to run Nigeria. I said, why would I go to his house? It's because the Nigerian mind has been so colonized that, as Jerry Rawlings said when I met him in Ghana, the former president of Ghana, he said the problem with Nigerians is that they are still in love with their oppressors. And until you separate them from their oppressors, until they start hating their oppressors, it's as if they have no future. So I think when people see consequences against those who do wrong in society, the human mind, the student, the young person will start understanding that they have to live an exemplary life. Right now, there's no basis for a person to live an exemplary life in Nigeria because criminals are the ones who are venerated in the country. They are the ones who get the most respect. You go to Lagos. Lagos is owned by one person, Jagaban. Yes. You go to Kwara State. It's owned by one family, the Saraki family. So it's sometimes you start wondering again, like I started. At what point did we sell our birthright and how much? That's the question. Second question is, what structure to tackle Boko Haram is a general question. I get this all the time. Or how do we bring people together? I'm telling you, bringing people together is not difficult, but they have to be done through justice. The question you should ask yourself, who is it in Australia that brings you together? Is there any day that you get a letter from the government of Australia that say, please, so we want you to come together. We want you to love the country. No. What makes you love Australia, for those of you who have changed your citizenship, is because Australia delivers to you social and economic justice. When you work, you get paid on weekends. In the US that I lived in, for 19 years, if we don't get paid, it's like the world will come to an end on the payday. But we are waiting for that check to take it to the check cashing place when I started there. You cannot even imagine not getting paid. It's unimaginable. But in Nigeria, it is a surprise to get paid. At the end of the month. You'll be wondering, why did you get paid? What happened that the governor released money? There are governors who are owing 16 months of salary to their workers, and what they are owing is 18,000 naira per month. That same 18,000 naira translates to less than $600 per year minimum wage in Nigeria. Here in Australia, I heard that in 2 weeks, people who are unemployed get $600 every 2 weeks. That is more than the salary of a worker in a year in Nigeria. So, why would there not be unity when things are working? When we sang the Nigerian national anthem and the Australian national anthem, I see the zeal with which people were singing at the Australian one. The Nigerian one, people were just like, let it finish, let it finish, let it finish. But the Australian one, I saw how you stood. It's as simple as that. It might sound funny to you. A country that doesn't believe in you can't believe in that country. But if a country is taking care of you, even if you hear the national anthem in your sleep, you will stand up. But the Nigerian national anthem, I beg, don't try that thing in front of some people. Even. There are parts of Nigeria where if you go and play national anthem, they will beat you up. Because the country is not serving them in any capacity. I can't help but laugh at the question person who said it's difficult to die here. But it's real, right? Because all it takes you whenever you are sick in this part of the world is to get to hospital. Or for hospital to get to you. Yes. One day in the US, my son, I was bathing my son in water and he had seizure. And we thought he was gone. We just laid him on the cable and it was snow. And we tried to drive out of the house with him. The snow blocked our car. The ambulance came. And the ambulance guy came down, the major one of them, one of the aides, hooked him up with this and he said, oh, I found a pulse. And after he said he found a pulse, he said, everybody should stop crying, he's still alive. In Nigeria, there's no way they can find that pulse. It's true. You know? Because the person who is coming is not coming with first aid. You know? There's no way an ambulance will come to your house to pick up somebody to go to hospital in Nigeria. I've never heard it before. When people have accidents in Nigeria, our humanity has been so strict that they will be looking in their pocket for their cell phone. They collect it first, yes, that's the first priority for most people. Collect their cell phone, wallet, then they will see who is still alive and say, okay, they'll help you stop the vehicle, take it to the hospital. But most of the time, you get to the hospital, there are no doctors there. You know? Or when you get to the doctors are even wondering, why is it that you have not died? Before you got there, they look at you and say, if you are still alive, it's misery, just end your misery, die. Nigeria is the only place on Sunday where churches are praying for people to die. You know, or invoking fire. And there are no firefighters in the country. It is part of the way the mind is set up. Somebody said beside me here when you said that people are, it's very hard to die, there are no witches and wizards here in Australia. What happened to the Nigerian witches who came to Australia? Where did you leave your witches and wizards? Is it only the people without witches who are not witches who got visa? So many of you, before you came here, you were regarded as witches because you are poor. You were regarded as witches because you were sick. You were regarded as witches because you couldn't pass exams. Anytime you went to look for a job and you didn't get a job, you always start suspecting your sister, or your grandmother, or the village people. I know people who don't go to the village because they believe that all the villages are made up of witches and wizards. When I took my kids to Nigeria for the first time, everyone's like, you better take them out of the village. I said, for what? You know witches are here. I said, the worst witches are based in America. If they don't kill them, there's nothing they can do to them. There are no witches anywhere, there are no wizards everywhere. But when you don't have hospitals, what do you expect? What they're saying is that if my kids get sick in the village, practically there's no hospital that can take care of them. Except you fly them out of the country, and before we get to the airport, they'll probably be dead. So, trust me, we just have to take it back. We have to take our country back. And the moment we do that, we will kiss all the witches and wizards goodbye. The witches and wizards will also be dancing shaku shaku. Because there is a correlation between lack of electricity and witches and wizards. The moment there's electricity, there's no witches having a journey anymore. They go to the village where there's darkness. Secret society, somebody asked me a very interesting question if I belong to secret society. It's very, very interesting because when I was at the university, one of my biggest challenges was being a student union leader at the University of Lagos. And we had problem of secret societies, court gangs, as we call them, called them secret courts. And we had to fight them. And we had to fight them, and when we were fighting on campus, I was asked the same question: where did you get the courage from to go and confront secret courts? Are you a secret court yourself? And my question was very easy. Is that if somebody had courage, you won't need to be a member of a secret society. Yes. If you are brave enough, it's people who are not brave who need to join hands in secret with some people to fight. Well, if you are brave enough, you don't need to act in secrecy. I can say the way I am now, and is the way I've always been since I got to the university in 1989. The way I am now was the way I was when I was behind Abiola in 1993. The reason I was behind Abiola in that video, I'll tell you today. Abiola gathered all these politicians behind him. They were collecting money from him. So I went to see him to tell him that students are going to fight the annulment of the June 12 election. As usual, Abiola stammered and said, student leader, thank you for coming. He grabbed 800,000 naira. Bam. You know, the man is always giving out money. And I told him, I said, Chief, what for? He said, for you people to go and keep fighting against Babangida now. I said, Chief, I'm not here to collect your money. I'm not fighting Babangida because of you. I'm fighting Babangida because of my own future. And you don't need to bribe me to fight for my own future. So, Abiola was shocked, because I was wearing slippers. He said, what kind of person are you that did not ask for money, and when I gave you, you did not collect? He said, come next to me, I'm going to address the media outside. I want you to be the person standing next to me. At that point, most of the politicians that collected money from you had abandoned Abiola and went to Babangida to be collecting money. That was the history of why I was standing behind Abiola in 1993. In 1993, I was 21 years old. Yes, about 21, 22. Today, I'm 47 years old. I'm still standing on the same pedestal of what is right for Nigeria. And also refusing to be bribed by people who have stolen Nigeria's money. If I wanted to make money with Sahara reporters, I would have made so much money, I would have bought an island very close to Australia and be living there by myself. Sure. Because each time I wrote a story against the rich people, the first attitude is, what do you want? And when I tell them that you cannot afford what I want, they look at me and say, there's nobody we cannot bribe now. We have bribed this person. They will name all the journalists and how they bribe them. But I said there have to be one person that you cannot bribe, and that would be me. That's been where I stood. To answer your question, I do not belong to any secret society. And I have lived my life very transparently, including in this presidential campaign. I'm raising money transparently. As of today on GoFundMe, I saw that we raised $89,000. Wow. Yes. Our goal is to raise $2 million. Not Canadian dollars or not Australian dollars, US dollars. But I heard US dollars is stronger than Australian dollars. $2 million US, with which we can defeat these old guys. And we are well on our way to raising that money, and I'm sure we will reach that destination. Whichever way
in the video,
it is,
the ladies' faces and everybody,
that we never
everybody
thought
in the video
come
as
our
well.
way. The other day we were in Melbourne. A doctor who came and said he never also believed in me before now. He thought I was working for Amici until he watched the video on YouTube and discovered that I fought Amici before and recorded it. He gave me $1,000 right there, a medical doctor. We know there are a lot of you who can afford to fund this revolution. So you are not convinced yourself that you want to do it. But for me, and I want to be very clear, it's not about money. We can have all the money we want and still not win the election. But we have all the will we need to defeat these people in this election, even when we don't have all the money. So that's what I tell you. So, no secrecy in my life. I do not believe in secret societies. I don't believe we need to do anything in secret. The countries that are doing well are countries that are doing things transparently. And the government that we will bring next year will be a government that is completely transparent. I intend to declare my assets. I intend to make sure that anybody who is working in my government, the assets are declared and uploaded on the website of the federal government, or a special website that's accessible anywhere. I intend, when we recover money from thieves, that we make them available to the public to know from whom we recover the money and how much we recover. Those are things that Buhari claimed he would do when he came to power. He never did any one of them. Till today, they claim they are recovering money. You don't know from whom they recover the money, how much they recover. They just tell us they are recovering money. We recovered 320 million naira from Abacha in Switzerland. The day the money arrived, we went to China to borrow 320 million naira. You know, these guys are not only wicked, they are also idiots. I'm sorry to say. So let's take the next 3 questions.
Number 6 and 7 and 8, get ready.
Okay. All right. It's a privilege to be part. I would say that I've been a fan since 2006. I've been following Sahara Reporters, and I always like to watch Dr. Damage's program on YouTube. My question is, there's so much confusion in the land right now, in Nigeria right now, because people are really confused. Some people just want to get somebody, a candidate that will challenge the present president. And because of that, they are going for article, which I think so many of my friends, so many of my colleagues, which I've convinced, are getting articulated every day, which is a big concern. I just want to probably say this, that I just discovered that there are 2 categories of people that are running to churches or religious organizations for safety, just because it's a hopeless situation. And where you can find them is when you go to congregations, large congregations, you see them. You don't see them on the street, like they are really praying to God that they want help. Okay, and there are other people that are using music, because that's what is selling now, even abroad. Nigerian music industry is selling everywhere. So people are also using that to console themselves. So I will it's just like a suggestion and like a question, just to tell you that probably if you want to get people, a large number of people in a place, let you to look into going to conventions, church religious organization programs like the Experience. They normally do the first Friday of every December, where you can get organized by Paul Adefarasi. You can get a large number of youth there, and also 6 million people gathered in redemption camp every December. You can also get the villagers, the marketers, everybody there. Then my last sorry about that. My last question is about can I remember? Yes, my last question is, what is your plan towards getting the biodata of Nigerians? Because there's no data in Nigeria. So what are your plans? What are you planning to do about that? Thank you very much.
Please, number 8, get ready.
Number 8. Hi, my name is Amelia. So I've been to Nigeria once, and I found some things quite eye-opening. Firstly, when I was there, I saw that the electricity wasn't working, and when I was at my grandmother's place, there was one day when we had 3 days without electricity. Like, it may not seem like a big deal, but not having electricity is kind of bad. And I was wondering what you and your party would do to make sure that electricity was working more efficiently and better for the people. And I also noticed that after 8 p.m. it was safe to leave your compound or where your house was, and it was due to thieves or even the police around. How are you and your party going to combat police brutality and also protect the people of Nigeria?
Thank you.
This is a great honor for me, Mr. Sowore. I first saw you on YouTube, and it was like I was dreaming. Is this for real? Is this really a candidate that really loves Nigeria to this extent? And you've shown your love by coming to Australia. We are very far away, down under, and if you don't love us, if you don't love Nigeria, you would not have come here. So I just want to appreciate that. My name is Dr. Mrs. Motrayo Adebayo. I have a few questions here. I hope I don't run out of time. The first thing is the mind. Someone has rightly said here that the mind, even the devil uses our mind to conquer us. There is fear. So the mind and fear prevents us from doing what we should do. What is your strategy to win? When the Israelites got to the border and they're supposed to enter the promised land, fear prevented them from entering the promised land. They were afraid of giants, giants that God